Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, you're welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, I welcome you as well. So in today's video, we are going to be making a kaftan dress, and if you're watching my video for the first time and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and watch and share this video. So in today's video, we are going to be making a kaftan dress. I'll call it a kaftan dress because this type of dress is not going to be fitted, it's not going to be free, and it's not going to be fitted, and it's going to have ankara patches at the front. So I already folded this fabric into two. Okay, so I want to tell you guys how you can save fabric when you want to cut any style of your choice. So initially the amount of fabric I purchased for this style is 2 yards. Now I was able to save up to 25 inches of fabric, close to a yard of fabric I was able to save. So what I do was I calculated the hip. Okay, the quarter of the hip I'm working with is 10 inches. So, and I'll be needing, remember that the quarter of the hip I'm working with is 10.5. And when I was taking the measurement, I already added ease allowance to the measurement, so I have 10.5. Now I'll need 1.5 for side seam allowance, that's 12 inches. In case you want to add that to yours, that's 13 inches. Okay, but I'm not adding that, so I have 12 inches. So unfold is 12 inches, which means when I open it up, I'll have 24 inches. So that means at the back as well, I'll also have 24 inches at the back. And because at the back I'll be adding zipper allowance to it, and the zipper allowance is 3 inches, so that makes the back 27. So the front is 24 while the back is 27. So 24 plus 27, I have 51 inches. So that means 51 inches is the wideness of the fabric I will need to cut both the front and back. And the length I'm working with is 59.5. So that is how I measured. I used to measure before I cut out or put in the measurement, so that I can save enough fabric. Don't just fold and then cut out excess fabric and then end up wasting your fabric. So let's jump right into the tutorial. So from here now, I'm just going to mark the starting point line here. From there, I'm going to take the bust point measurement. I'll be using 11 inches. Initially is 10.5, but because I like joining the shoulder by half an inch, I don't like adding extra half an inch up here. So by the time I join the shoulder by half an inch, I'll be left with 10.5. And the waist I'm working with is 16. I'll add half an inch for seam allowance. I have 16.5. And the hip measurement, the hip line is 24.5 plus half an inch for seam. I have 25. Okay, if you are making a straight gown, let's say you are making a long straight gown, then you need to impute your knee measurement. Okay, if your actual knee is 38 inches, then you go up by 2 inches and then you have 36 inches, and then you take the knee measurement. But because it's a kaftan dress and I'm not going to be shaping the knee, whatever measurement I have at the hip is what I'll have at the knee, and is what I will have at the hem of the dress. So let me just mark this out for us to see. So our knee measurement is 36. Okay, plus half an inch for joining allowance, I have 36.5. So the next thing I'll do is to take the shoulder to shoulder measurement of 8 inches. So I'm just going to mark 8 inches here. So I'm marking 8 inches here. Then you take your armhole line. So the armhole line I'm working with is 8 inches. Now because I'll be taking half an inch for the shoulder slope, I'm going to use 9 inches. I'm using 9 inches here. So I'm just going to connect the shoulder line, the shoulder to shoulder measurement line I marked here. So, and then I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. And the neck width I'll use 3.5 for the neck width. 3.5 for the neck width, and I'll use 5.5 for the neck depth. Okay, 5.5. Remember, by the time I take half an inch off, I'll be left with 5 inches. So this is the front neck. So for the back neck, I'll just use 3.5 inches for the back neck. I'll use 3.5 inches for the back neck. So I'm just trying to mark the points together. So I'm going to connect the back neckline and then connect the front neckline as well. So what I will do now is to determine the midpoint, and the midpoint is 4 inches. I will go in by half of an inch, and then to know how deep you need to go, you can just measure 1 inch outward like this, and then you connect your armhole back here, and that is our front armhole. That's the front armhole. For the back armhole, just connect like so, and also go back to the, you can see this is the front armhole, this is the back armhole. So what I will do next now is to impute the horizontal measurement. The quarter of the bust is 10 inches. Remember, I already added his allowance to it, and then side seam allowance of 1.5, then I have 11.5. So for this gown, the client wants it to have lining, so I'm going to be turning with lining. But if you want to make yours, you can ignore the lining, especially if you are working with a thick fabric, you can ignore the lining. So the waist, the quarter of our waist is 9.5. So I'm just going to mark the 9.5 here, and then 1.5 for seam allowance, and the hip is 10.5 plus 1.5. I have 12 inches. So I'm going to mark the 12 inches at the knee area. But if you want yours fitted, you can minus 1 inch from the measurement you have at the hip. You can measure up to half an inch or 1 inch, so that from the knee to the bottom will look a little bit penciled. But this is a straight gown, so I'm going to make it straight. So I'll have 12 inches. So at the hem of the dress as well, I'm also going to mark 12 inches at the hem of the dress. So I'll go ahead and cut the back armhole first. Okay, so I need to connect the shoulder slope. Okay, so I'll just connect the shoulder slope like this. So that is it. I'm just going to cut out the back armhole first. Okay, so I'll also cut the back neck. Okay, so I'm not cutting directly on the mark. I'm taking about 1/4 of an inch off, so that I can use the 1/4 of an inch as allowance to turn with the lining. Okay, so this is it. I'm also going to cut the shoulder measurement off. So I'm going to use the front now to cut the back, and once I'm done, I'll cut off the front armhole too. So guys, I've placed the front to the back. I placed it on the back bodies, and I marked 1.5 inch for zipper allowance. This is the zipper allowance here. Now what I'm going to do is, because I'm going to be adding zipper here, and I don't want this dress to have zipper bulge at the back, so what I will do is to measure the waist, which is what I have here, and then the hip. I'm going to measure the hip, and from the hip I'll just come up by 2 inches from the hip. Okay, so at the waist here I'll go in by half an inch. Okay, so this is the half an inch, just to eliminate the zipper bulge, and then I'll connect from that waist to the hip You know, I came up 2 inches from the hip, so I'll connect there. Then this as well, I'll connect up to where I have the chest line measurement, which is around here. Or you can even connect it up to the neck, up to the back neck. So this is what I have. And remember, the half an inch you took away from that bulge here, you need to add it back to the waist here. Okay, I'm just going to add that half an inch here, and then I'll connect it back to the hip, because if you don't add it, you'll be short of fabric around there. So I'll also connect this to the waist, to the bust too. So this is what I have. Now the back is going to have slits. Okay, so from the shoulder line, you mark where the actual knee measurement is. Okay, so I'm going to be measuring 38 inches. So 38 inches is what I'll be using. This is 38 inches. Okay, so it's a free dress anyway, so 38 inches is okay. Or you can go up, if you are doing a fitted gown, you can go up by 2 inches so that you have easy movement. So I'm done for the front. There is nothing much at the front, so I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So I'm done cutting. So the next thing I'm going to do now is the sleeve. So I said I was going to put pattern on this fabric. So once I put the pattern, I'm going to iron normal stay on this pattern. So once I iron it, I'll show you. I have videos on how to attach stay on your, how to iron stay on pattern and how to stitch it down. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you the final outcome of this dress. So this is what you're going to do. I've not properly trimmed this off, so by the time I iron the stay on it, I'll be able to trim, I'll be able to trim up the pattern properly. So I've folded the two sleeves together now, and I'm going to cut. I'll measure the sleeve cap downward, and then I'm going to take the front and back armhole. For you to understand what I'm doing here, I'm going to link the basic sleeve video I made so that you understand all the measurements I'm taking here. Okay, please do and make sure to watch the video. So after measuring, then I'm going to cut out. Ensure that you cut the back armhole first before you cut out the front armhole, and also notch the front armhole. I'm turning this fabric with lining, and then I've also ironed the interfacing on the patches, and then I also cut them out neatly, so you can see it now. So I marked out the center, so I used my iron. So I folded this into two, and then I iron it to create the center. Just simply fold this fabric into two and then iron the center to create a crease, so that you know where the center is. So I'm going to be placing this on the center. So I want to stitch down these patches on the fabric first before I join the front and back body's shoulder, before I join them together and eventually stitch it at the sides. So I'll go and stitch this now with my zigzag sewing machine. Okay, I have a video on how I cut the patches out and also how I stitch it down on the fabric. So I'm going to link the video in the description box now. And after stitching all of these patches down, I'm going to join the front and back shoulder together. So guys, this is the outcome of the dress. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I also used my steaming iron to stone the patches. I have a video on that in case you are interested, and I'm going to link it in the description box below. Thanks for watching this video to the end, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share this video. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.